So if you're serving maybe a nice risotto, which you made that.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was great.
It was way easier than I thought it would have been.
Okay.
I think that's why I never tried it. I'm like, oh, that's too complicated, but it wasn't.
No. Did you drink the wine afterwards?
No, I didn't have wine in the house at that point, but I do now.
Okay. What did you use?
I just used the chicken stock, the Better Than Bouillon stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But you'll notice, like, after, if you use wine, you'll notice a slight different taste. You're really just cooking it off. And even when you're cooking off wine, it's very faint, the taste. You're not, it's not overly acidic. So making sure that having the right bowl, if you're using a bowl or a platter, making sure you have that. So the whole mise en place, it's like from start to finish, what is it that you're going to be using beforehand.
Yeah, I don't think I would have thought about the serving stuff when laying everything out. So that's good.
Let's see. Email. And then, so once you have the presentation, just points to remember, even with presentation, whether it be fruits, vegetables, because certain vegetables must be washed off, especially like your leeks. So you want to make sure those are washed off first, because once you start cooking, then you don't want to stop. You just want to keep going with the process.
Yeah, it's much more enjoyable if you can just keep going.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's like watching it on TV.
Process. And then, in keeping in mind sanitation, making sure that you're not cross-contaminating anything. So if you're going to be doing chicken, make sure you have a separate cutting board for chicken. If you're going to be doing like any other meat and produce, just having 2 separate cutting boards. So when you're finished with one, then you can just put it in the sink, especially like if it's meat, because it starts to, drip blood or something like that. So making sure that your work surface stays clean, and that, and even like dirty knives, once they get dirty, move it away. And I'm not going to go into details too much about the whole knife, like cutting skills, but one thing that I like to say, even when you are using a knife in the kitchen, if it falls, let it fall. So get into the habit of hands back, feet back, just getting into the habit of jumping back. Because if that knife falls, there have been so many accidents.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, like students, and the knife falls and they go either from culinary school or when I was at the cooking school, doing classes. The knife dropped. They're not used to jumping back, and the knife goes straight through the foot.
Ooh. Ouch.
And these knives are extremely sharp. So practicing safety, dirty knife, making sure that you clean it the right way, which we'll talk about that later as well. Always having soapy water, close by. Constantly washing the hands while you're in process of, cooking and going from.
Shush.
Oh, hang on a second.
Sorry about that.
Let me try this again. Invite. Send email. tt.porter@att.net. That's the passcode. Yep. Send it. Okay. Sent again. And no one's trying to get in. No one's still waiting. Can you invite someone from in there? Okay, no worries. So prep or not to prep. So there are some things that that will need a recipe, that will need to be prepped, and some things that may not be prepped before. So just looking at that, looking at timing, like today, since we're doing just a few items, we're doing the salmon, we're doing the sauce for the salmon. So when you're looking at your menus, let's say you're planning on doing a chicken, you're doing a starch, you're doing some vegetables. Looking at the timing, to see which one takes longer, or if you're like, if let's say one recipe calls for maybe roasting, or recipe calls for doing something in the oven like roasting nuts, maybe toasting almonds or nuts, then you want to have the stove on. So if you look in advance at some of the recipes, that'll help you to get in and get out, because you're like, okay, I know I need to roast the almonds, or I need to roast some vegetables. So I want to have those ready and pop them in the oven while I'm doing something else. So if you're roasting, you can always pop something in the oven and then start something else. So do you see how that minimizes a lot of time?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Equipment, if you have any equipment that you're using, make sure that it's not broken. That's the last thing you need, is for something to be broken before you're ready. So if you're using a food processor, you're using a blender, make sure that it's not broken before you even get started with your recipe, or even before you go to the grocery store. Because if it's broken, you go to the grocery store, you buy all this food, then you get home and you realize, I can't make anything. I can't make what I wanted to make because my process was broken. So there's little things to like be mindful of when you're getting ready to to mise en place out. So the first thing to do when you start mise en placing out is, since we're making fish and we're making the sauce, so we're gonna first we're gonna go through the recipe together and see, think about what serving platter do we need in order to execute this. So you're doing the ginger poached salmon with the basil sauce. So what would you choose to plate your salmon and the basil sauce?
I have a platter. A little platter.
So go on. So pull yours, and I'm going to pull mine.
Okay.
Okay, hold on a second. Why is she saying it has no password? And it does have a password.
Basic.
So we have a lime, my basil, creme fraiche. We have salt, pepper. So salt and pepper, I just always keep it right in front of me, so it's always ready to go. Kids! Oh. Can you hear us?
That was my phone. Whew. Okay. No one ever calls me, and then all of a sudden, oh, the other person made it?
You're on mute. You're on mute.
Oh,
okay.
I'm in.
You made it.
Okay. Hurry up. Tell me what I missed.
Okay. Okay. Britt, this is Jen. Jen is another student that's joining us. I'm glad you could come on in and join us.
Hi.
Hi, Jen. I'm so sorry I'm late. I am so not technically savvy, and I couldn't figure this out for the world. I've been trying for half an hour.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, I'm ready. What I missed? What?
No
cut
worries.
up something? What?
If Jen is okay with me going back, just kind of briefing up on a couple things. Okay. Sure. So we talked about the importance of mise en placing and how it's good to have everything in front of you before you start. So up here. So we just talked about how mise en place is a French word that means putting everything together. So when you're mise en place, you want to make sure you have everything ready. So you have the two recipes that I sent you, right? Okay. So when you're this also helps just to get yourself in and out of the kitchen, because nobody likes to spend all day in there. But if you have everything kind of prepped beforehand, it saves on a lot of time. So just making sure you have all of your utensils, always keep this nearby, even though I don't always personally measure stuff myself, but I keep this together. So I just got like a key ring, and that way I don't have to be looking for one and looking for the other. So I just put it on a key ring, and then I have to keep both together.
Okay.
So make sure you always have that close by. But after a while, you start to understand and learn what's a tablespoon, how many is 4 tablespoons, just by visually looking at it. So I always have that near. All of my ingredients, I have them out on the table before I get started, just to make sure. And also double check in my cabinets, in the refrigerator, make sure I have it before I go to the grocery store. Any equipment that I'm going to be using, like today we're going to be mixing the sauce. So you want to make sure that whatever you're using, mix it in, that it still works before you get to the grocery store and realize that it come home and it doesn't work. So if it does, then you're upset the fact that now it doesn't work. So just make sure that you have that, that it's not broken. Presentation, we also talked about presentation, making sure you have the right serving plates that you're going to use. If you're not going to be immediately putting it into a container, having the right serving platter, making sure you have something to take your fish or your meat off the burner or out of your pot, one of these. We're going to do it with fish, so I have one of these. If you need to serve them, of course you want to use one of these, especially if it's hot, you don't want to burn yourself, so this is good to have. And so I'm gonna give you a moment. We all went and got a nice plate to put our salmon in. So just make sure you have a plate and a little bowl to put your sauce in. So we're gonna start with the sauce first, and then we're gonna do the Brussels sprout, and then we're gonna do the salmon last. The reason we're doing the salmon last is because it takes less time. And if the Brussels sprouts are a little cool or room temperature, that's still okay. So I'm gonna make sure you have a pot that has like a rounded edge, so it'll hold the water. Because we're gonna be poaching today. We're not poaching in any other week except for this week. So you're gonna see what it's like to poach. You can poach fish. You can even poach chicken if you want to. If you want a chicken salad and you don't want to fry it, and you're eating healthy, you want to keep your weight down to minimize a lot of extra calories, which I don't talk calories because sheep women don't diet.
I like that.
But if you want, your chicken, you can still poach it and then still do a salmon afterwards. So it takes a little longer than a fish if you're poaching chicken. So we have this for when we get ready to start poaching. But right now we're going to start off doing our sauce. So I always make sure I put all of my ingredients in here so it's close to the stove. I don't have to go anywhere. I also make sure, this is what I call my refuse container. Oh, perfect. So Britt, I want you to go get something like this because I want you to keep your workspace clean. I want you to not have to do a lot of cleaning up at the end. So if you have one of these, any garbage, eggshells, or whatever can go right in here. And then these are just the little bags from the grocery store. I just toss it away once I'm done. Yeah, that's my little, if I was composting, this would be great. Right there. Put my fish aside. But the fish can stay aside because one thing about fish I also want to make notice, mention to you guys. When you're cooking, a lot of fish, steak, it is best that they are at room temperature before you start, especially a steak. A steak, you can put it out an hour, up to an hour or two before. Let's say you're in the kitchen and you're prepping everything. You can put your steak on the counter before you start cooking anything because you want the steak to relax. And if you just get it from the freezer or you bring it from the grocery store, it still may be a little moisture on it. So you want some of that moisture to come out of it by sitting at room temperature. And it also gives a steak an opportunity to relax. So once you put it in your hot pan, then it'll cook and give it a nice, beautiful sear that you're looking for. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
So I wasn't sure about that when it came to fish. So mine's still in the fridge. So I should take it out now?
Yes, take it out now because we don't want to remove any moisture from it.
Okay, I was a little nervous about that one.
You're gonna see me moving around a lot because my counter space is kind of like, I have one long counter space on one side of the kitchen and a small counter space right by the stove. So I use my long counter space and put everything there.
Okay.
So you'll see me coming back and forth, but I can hear you no matter where I am
That's
in the
perfect.
kitchen.
You know, and that's good because we should be. If we were in a real, if we were live together in a professional kitchen, all of you would be moving around. So that's great. We like movement. So we're starting with our creme fraiche. So we just want to take a bunch, and a bunch is basically, we're gonna start with maybe a handful, and then go from there based on our taste. I also like to keep with me spoons for tasting because you know you can't go dipping and dipping. You know what I mean? It's your own house. Everybody, you know, you eat with your kids, they eat with you. But you know, I like to get into the practice of having like a couple tasting spoons, and that way I never get out of the habit. So whenever we get out of COVID and I have guests, that I can be tasting stuff without forgetting and double dipping. So I always have a cold side. So yeah, take your basil, and then so we're gonna take a bunch of basil, 1 tablespoon of creme fraiche, 1 lime. We're gonna zest it, and then we're gonna juice it, and then we're gonna take a pinch of salt and pepper and put it in. And don't put the salt in yet, because I'm gonna show you something about the whole pinching that we typically do.
Are we gonna be using like a blender, I need my food processor?
Yes.
Could I do it with an immersion blender?
It's not gonna be that much because we're only it's a small amount. I don't know.
So, okay.
It may not work out. Because usually you do the
Okay, I'll
immersion.
get my food processor.
Okay, go for it.
I'll get the food processor.
Okay. So once you get it, Jen, you can start. So just start putting your basil inside your processor.
I only had a little bit from that plant, so I took all the green leaves off. It's not that much, and I love basil.
That's right, because really we're not going to like blend it up too much. We just want to get the essence of it, because we're not trying to make a soup. We just want to pulse it a little bit so we have like essence of it instead. And then I'm going to put about a tablespoon, a regular spoon here. And then do our zest. I don't know. I'm not sure if do you have one of these, Britt?
Yes.
Okay, good. You got one too, Jen?
I just got it yesterday, finally.
Excellent.
I'm happy to have it for today.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell Britt this because I don't know if Jen, you saw this in one of my cooking classes online in Facebook group. So the microplane has these fine little ridges. You see that, Britt?
Yes.
Okay, so these little ridges are like little bitty knives. One, you have to be careful you don't hurt yourself, especially if you like zesting garlic or ginger. But also, whenever you're using a microplane, you want to make sure, because you've paid, a nice little penny for this. You want to make sure that this lasts, as long as possible. So because the blades are really fine and thin, whenever you're zesting, you only want to go and take your stickers off there. You only want to go in one direction. And I don't know, left or right-handed. So you just want to go in one direction. If you're doing the, you can zest this way from the top side, or you can turn it over and zest this way. But a lot of people have the tendency to seesaw when they use the zest. And when you seesaw back and forth, you're actually dulling the blades of your microplane.
Yeah, I probably would have done that. So I'm glad to hear that advice.
So we're doing the lime.
Right. So you so you always want to remember, if it says zest, you want to make sure you zest your lime first before you start juicing it. Yeah. So we're gonna take the zest of the, we're just gonna do the whole zest. So, and also when you're zesting, only go over each section one time. And that's something a lot of people have the tendency to do as well. They go over it like several times, but the white part is the most bitter part. So you wanna only get like the actual skin of it, which is the dark green, or if it's a lemon, the yellow part. Because all of the essential oils are in the color and not in the skin below.
I'm shocked at how strong this thing is. Wow. Like it took the skin off real easy.
It's pretty strong, but if you hold it up towards a like light, you can even see some of the like flavor coming out of it.
Oh, that's much different than the grater I usually use, so that's nice.
Okay. This is one of my favorite tools in the kitchen. I don't know, I just like this thing. And
a lot of zest came
I
off.
know. I do.
To add flavor.
Like, yeah, yes.
And then we're going to
okay, sure.
Okay. And then now we
and then we're going to
and only 1 tablespoon of creme fraiche. Just 1 tablespoon of creme fraiche, right?
Right, just 1 tablespoon. Yeah,
Okay.
you can always start with 1. You can always add more later, but I always like to start with 1 up front.
Salt.
So we're gonna juice the whole lime.
Okay.
Because the lime juice is gonna give you a little bit more sauce. So you notice there's like, sauce doesn't have to be with butter. So technically, there's a book. Have you guys seen that movie, Salt, Fat, and Acid?
No.
No.
Not
Is
that
that
one.
our homework?
Yes. Yeah. So I'm gonna have you before next week to watch. Actually, it's on Netflix right now.
Okay.
Salt, fat, heat, and acid.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll learn the prime ingredients in almost every sauce is salt, fat, acid, and there may be heat, maybe not, but it's normally 3, if not 4. So we have our fat, which is the creme fraiche. We got our salt, which is using. We have our acid, which is the lime. Salt, fat, yeah, see? Salt, fat, and acid. If you want to add heat, you can, but even think about some sauces that you know. Tomato sauce. You got your salt, your fat, which is your oil, and you have your acid from the tomatoes. So mostly everything of sauce having those starting ingredients.
I like that. Salt, fat, acid. Okay.
Yeah, and heat. Because no matter what you're using, it's going to produce heat. So if you're cooking it on the stove, you got your heat. If you're using this, it's generating a little heat. So you have all of those sources. And then everyone getting noisy because we're all going to be noisy right now. So, but we're not going to blend this. We're pulsing it because we still want the specks of green. We don't want to blend it all in and look like baby food.
Okay. I'm going to put you on mute. I'm going to put myself on mute just in case I'm too loud.
Okay, everybody we're going to all put each other on mute. It says a pinch of this. This is a pinch. So I'm using, this is not a pinch. I don't know what that is. This is a baby finger. So this is not a pinch. And then I hate when I see people, they'll pinch it like this, then they'll slowly drop it on. I'm like, first of all, you're isolating salt, and then there are other areas that don't have salt. So when you're pinching salt, you want to use all fingers, because if you have a good quality salt, like a sea salt in particular, they are designed to be used a certain way. If it has bigger flakes, then you want to use it the same, maybe smaller pinch, because it disperses the flakes will disperse over it. And the larger flakes are typically a finishing salt. But I use a kosher salt. You know, the big, I think it's a blue box. I use that kosher salt. So just pinch, and you can always add more later. So this is my pinch. And when I'm pinching overall, I'm always salting high up. But for this, you're just pinching and putting in the bowl. So pinch a little and then taste it, because you don't want to put too much, because you can't go back once you put too much. So you want to put a little salt and a little pepper, because we still want the green to come through and not all the pepper flakes. And then taste it, make sure it's up to your standard. I like it. I need more salt, a little more.
How do you know? Because you can't taste the salt, or?
Because for me, it's a little bit too acidic, and I add just a little bit more salt to see if I can tone that down.
That's good.
I like it. What do you think, Jen?
Me too.
I could only make a tiny bit
Let's see.
because I only add a little bit of basil.
Perfect.
But
You can add a little more creme fraiche if you like, but I think that's perfect.
okay. Yep. I added 2 tablespoons because my blender bowl was way too big. I wish I had a mini one.
Yeah.
It worked out.
So
And then
everyone, make sure you put your sauce inside of your container. And then we're gonna set that aside, and then we're gonna start working on our Brussels sprouts.
Oh, okay.
It's up to you. You can leave it out, or I'm gonna leave mine out. There's no reason to put it in the refrigerator just yet. I mean,
Yeah.
it's creme fraiche. It's not like we're sitting it out overnight. And even we talked about earlier with the whole leaving your meat sitting out before you cook it and letting it rest. According to the FDA standards, meat, as long as it doesn't sit out past 4 hours, you're fine. Because once it sits out over 4 hours, get those nasty issues. Okay, we're just gonna move this out of the way.
I could just eat the sauce. That's good.
I love a good sauce.
Okay, so now that we've finished that, we got that out of the way. We want to make room for we're going to do come back to our salmon last. So now we're going to start on our Brussels sprouts and kale. So now make sure that you have everything you need for that. Because remember we talked about proper boiling process. So we have our Brussels sprouts, we have our olive oil.
Yep.
Jen knows that I'm a firm believer in making sure that I use the right oil for the right cooking. So I only use extra virgin olive oil when I am doing vegetables, and that's like a quick saute. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, like the difference in the oils. But for now, we're not using rapeseed oil. We're only going to use our olive oil because we're doing a quick saute. So we have our Brussels sprouts, our olive oil. We want to make sure we have 5 garlic cloves.
Mm-hmm.
If they're big, that's all right. If you were in a class in front of me, this would already been done, mazed out for you. 3, 4. I have big garlic cloves. What about you? I like garlic though. We got garlic cloves. We want our lemon, and we're gonna be zesting it. So make sure our lemon is there. And we have our salt, pepper, and then we have our kale. So
I got my garlic.
what do you think this, now we have this kale, what do you think we should do with this kale before we start cooking?
Rinse it.
Yeah, you can rinse it now, or you can pull the vein out the back and then put it in a colander rinser, whichever one you feel it works for you. But I'm gonna pull my, I'm gonna pull this out first. Usually, whenever I work in the kitchen, when I'm at home cooking, or even when I'm, working with a client, I work on one space. So my little square, my cutting board space, I'm from the cutting board to the kitchen, into the sink. That's it. I'm really nowhere else. I have all my stuff on the counter, but this is my prep station right here. Does anybody have any questions thus far?
No.
Okay. My kale is one of my kale leaves are a little dirty, so I'm glad we are washing them.
No, dog. I'm so sorry.
How's yours?
Acting so stupid today. Where's the number?
Always good cooking with somebody. I don't think it's no fun always by yourself cooking.
No, a lot more fun.
I tried to get my husband to learn how to cook, because I said, if I die, I'm a married woman as soon as you bury me. Some guys do that. I'm like, you better learn how to cook.
Is it okay that I bought the curly kale?
Yeah, that's fine. It's gonna shrink up in
Okay.
there. Because we're really just doing like a quick cooking. So once you have it all, just rinse it. Surprised man was as dirty as it was. And once you clean it, I'm going to show you how to shift a knot. We're going to do cuts later, but this one is one that you're going to like. If you want to spin some of the water off, you can. I'm not going to do it, but you can. I'm just saying you can. That's just going to take more time for me, and I don't want to. So we're going to let that hang out. Let that hang out by the sink to drip off water, and we're going to start cutting up our Brussels sprouts. Because shaving them is, I don't know. I like Brussels sprouts. Do y'all love it or not?
I like them all right.
I like Brussels sprouts. Yeah,
Okay.
I really like them. I won't say I love them, but I would say out of 4 stars, they get a 3.
Okay. You know what? I love them best when they're shaved. Because I don't know. I just feel like when they're shaved, because there's this pungent smell that comes out when you're cooking them. So it kind of minimizes that smell for me. So the way you shave them, so we're going to cut off the end. We're going to cut this end off, and then we're going to split it in half. So whenever you're working with food on a cutting board, especially if it's a round vegetable or even a fruit, you always want to make sure that you cut it in half and then put it on the flat side because you don't want it to roll over while you're cutting it. And then if it actually roll over and then you hurt yourself. So just cut the end off and then split it in half. And any like bad pieces on the outside, just take the, like, you know, maybe like 1 or 2 of those off.
Okay.
So shaving, let's see. So when you're shaving, basically shaving is really just slicing.
Oh, okay, that's what I was wondering.
So whenever you're working with your cutting board, always keep your body parallel to the cutting board, and your knife is turned this way, or you can turn it this way. So your knife is like straight. It's like a straight line with your arm to your wrist, and then you turn the Brussels sprout this way, and then you just cut slicing it. And you get to the end where it's like a little like woody part, the hard part, and you just get rid of that.
Can you see across this way, or do we cut it the long way? Does it matter?
The other way. Yeah, the first way you just showed me.
This way.
Yeah. So
with the stem. Okay.
Yeah. So you're gonna cut that stem off and then just go that way.
Okay.
Because you may end up having like stem. So the stem on the bottom side is keeping it intact. So which is why you didn't cut it all the way off.
Okay. So this is called shaved Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, it's called shaved Brussels sprouts. It's always funny.
I thought that like it was going to be put on a microplane or something.
Nope. I mean, I guess it can be, but I find because if you do it on a microplane, it'll be more like zest.
Yeah.
But when you do it this way, it's called shaving it.
I think I overdid it in buying the Brussels sprout.
Huh?
I said I think I overdid it in buying the Brussels sprouts. I think I bought enough Brussels sprouts for 10 people.
Now, Jen, does all your kids eat Brussels sprouts?
No. But that's okay.
And you know, this is good for people that don't really like Brussels sprouts. My husband doesn't really like them. Do any of your kids like them?
No, but my husband doesn't really like them either, but I bet you he'll like them better this way.
Yeah, same with my husband. He don't really like them, but if I shaved him, he like them.
He used to complain when I made them, so I bet you this would make a difference.
One thing we talked about before you got in, Britt, was that if your knife falls on the floor, get in the habit of jumping back. Just let it drop. You can always clean it off. It's better to clean it off and still have all your feet intact.
Okay.
Not.
Now I'll buy a pair of steel toe boots.
Huh?
I said, I'll just buy me a pair of steel toe boots.
And take your time cutting. So if you could take, I always like to ask people this question. If you could take any spice with you, you're on a deserted island, you take any spice, which one would you take?
Cinnamon.
Salt.
Oh, that's a good one. You need salt.
Which one?
Just salt.
Just salt.
I had said cinnamon.
Yeah.
Salt's a good one. We need that.
All right, if you could take any animal, which one would you take?
Dog.
Ooh, that's a good one. A cow.
Which one?
I don't know if I would take a cow or a chicken.
Oh.
Because with the chicken, I'd have eggs, and then I'd
Yeah.
have some chicken.
That's the way I
But
feel
with
about
the
it. I
cow,
feel like
I
with
could
the
have
chicken,
steak and milk.
I feel with a chicken, you have
And
the
I'll bring the
eggs.
chicken and we can burn her.
I'm definitely with the chicken.
I think I'd take the cow. Because I gotta have some steak tacos.
Okay, that's good. And you got milk.
Butter.
Oh yeah, I think about that. You got butter. Once when I was in culinary school, I had to like cut up. I had to devein so many shrimp. I gave up shrimp for like a year.
It is gross.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that is pretty gross. I almost cut myself.
Uh-huh.
I cut a little piece of my fingernail off.
Ooh.
Don't do that.
So now we're gonna have fingernail Brussels sprouts because I can't find the fingernail.
Uh-oh.
You know, I don't want to show you how to use the knife just yet. I want to wait till Jen gets her her knife, January 4th, and then we'll talk about it then.
Okay, because I looked for it and I know it's in here, but it's just me eating this, so
Right.
good.
If there's a little crunch, you know what it is.
Exactly. I usually don't have my nails this long, but because of the pandemic, you know, I'm not doing anything, so I haven't cut them, and they grew pretty long.
Oh, okay.
But this class, I'm gonna have to go back to cutting them.
I wish my nails grew long. I've never, okay, maybe once. But this was before cut. But once I got into the culinary world, from like culinary school on, I never had long nails again. Once you finish shaving your Brussels sprouts, then we're gonna move on to, let me know when you're finished, we'll move on to chiffonading our kale.
Yeah, I'm done with my sprouts.
Okay, me too.
Okay.
I'm on the last half.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay, I'll done. I don't need the rest of these, really. There's plenty. Okay.
Oh my goodness, I smell food. It's so crazy. So hey Britt, Jen knows already, but I always use this. This is a pastry. Perfect. I just love you. I just love you. Oh, so this is a bench scraper, which is really just a pastry. Perfect. I love you too. So this bench scraper, I use this to transport everything. This is perfect for keeping your counter clean. So all my Brussels sprouts, I'm just gonna take them, put them right back in there, but put them in that bowl. And the counter space is clean. You don't have to worry about, and even when I go to the stove, if I need to take something to the stove, I'm not taking my knife with me. Because what if you're in the kitchen, somebody come behind you, you're not paying attention, or Brit, you have family come in the kitchen, and then all of a sudden you turn around, what? So we're going to prevent accidents in the kitchen by always using this right here, especially when you're going over to the stove.
Okay.
So my little trash bag is a little full, but I'm gonna keep that open. Okay, so that's done. So now we're gonna let's cut up our mince our let's do our kale. So the way you're shipping out your kale, so kale is almost, it reminds me of basil. So I'm just gonna stack them all together on top of each other. Maybe about 5. And if you ever see a recipe that says chiffonade basil, it's the same concept. So you stack them on top of each other, and then you roll it around like a cigarette.
Okay.
All right.
See, I didn't say,
Right.
I never smoked a joint. I didn't say joint. So I said cigarette. I never smoked a cigarette. When I was a little girl, I did try with one of my girlfriends. It coughed up a storm. Never did it again. So you're gonna roll it into a little mound like that. Yeah. And then you take your knife and cut. So you have little ribbons.
Okay, yes. I see.
So chiffonade is basically little ribbons.
Okay.
And we're gonna put that. We're gonna put that in the same container.
With the Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, put it in the same bowl.
Okay.
So usually whenever I cook, use broccoli in it. I mean basil in anything. I do the same thing. I always chiffonade it because it looks prettier.
Yeah.
And it will cook better, as we saute it.
Okay. It does look pretty.
What do you think that? Do you think this is it better for you guys working it this way?
Yes.
I'm not a huge fan of kale, but I love vegetables.
Okay.
And usually once I find a way that I really like something, I stick to it. So I just haven't found the way that I like kale yet.
Okay.
It's not nasty. I like it, but I just haven't had it a way that was really, really flavorful, or because I like savory foods. So maybe I'm willing to try this one to see if I like it.
Right. Yeah, I only like kale if it's like cooked, sauteed. Although if it's in a salad, if it's massaged, because your hand can make it break down the texture. So as long as the texture is broken down, I like it.
That's the only way I really have eaten it is in the massaged kale salad form.
Okay.
I don't like it salad form. It's too tough.
Yeah, the massage kind of softens it up a bit. But with the oil and vinegar, but it's not.
Once you finish that, just let me know, and then we'll start on our garlic. But it's easy to cut it when you roll it up like that.
Yeah.
And always, whenever we're eating, I always think about putting it in a form where a person can easily put it on their fork and have a mouth size. Because if it's too big, like you just break it apart, you know, it's almost like you're a rabbit on, you know, the lettuce iceberg. It's just so big. But if you break it down, you know, it's easier for people to enjoy the experience of eating.
Okay. Use my bench scraper to put it back in the bowl.
Huh?
I like that whole bench scraper thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a gem. Seriously. So what do you all going to saute it in? Does everybody have something to saute it in?
Yeah, I just have olive oil.
And what pan are you using? Perfect. What about you, Brett? Perfect. I feel like my
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Done.
So so the best way to get garlic this is what I do. With my body parallel to the board, I put my knife on the edge of the cutting board like that. And I put it on top of my garlic. And then right off. I used to tell former students, and it would always be funny when it would be like different people that could do it and some people that couldn't. And every now and then you would get this like really soft man who just, you know, was little like precious and I would say, hit it. I'm like, whack it. I'm like, come on, man. And a woman would come over and take the knife from him and do it. And then, so the same way we cut the Brussels sprout, I'm not gonna focus on the type of cut right now. We're just gonna slice these.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I want to show you how to mince. You know what? Forget it. So we're gonna do mince one at a time. I'm gonna show you that because.
Can I use my garlic press?
You can use it if you want to use garlic press.
My fingers.
You can want to, but if you don't, I'm going to show you another little trick here.
Okay.
So once you chop up garlic, you take some salt, put it on the top, and this is all part of the knife skills, but take your knife flat, and then you're smashing it in, and you're crushing it. Can you see that? So your knife is flat, and this hand is on top of that way. So you're like pushing this end in, and that's how you create sort of a mincing texture where you're able to break down the whole garlic and get the oils and the
Okay. How much salt did you use? Like a pinch?
yeah, just a pinch. Yeah, and that's how you mix. So that's how you get like the most flavor out of your garlic when you're cooking. I'm just gonna put that aside in just a little container. Just so I'm ready for it. So we're gonna do how many of those? 5 of those.
Oh, I see now.
See that?
I see the oils coming out.
Yeah. Because sometimes like a heavier garlic taste. That's what we are. That's mincing. Other than that, you're just slicing. So that's what mincing. Remember that cartoon? I'm gonna make mincemeat out of you.
Yeah.
Very big.
So now you know what he meant. I just found cutting to be therapeutic.
I find eating to be therapeutic.
Okay, I'll work on that one. When you smash it with your knife, you're able to do half the work for you.
Yeah. Salt really helps.
Yeah, it does, because the salt actually pulls all the flavor out.
Ooh, nice.
If you have a really big garlic clove, you may want to treat it as 2 instead of 1.
Oh shoot.
I mean, if you want to. If not, it's okay.
Pretty
I like garlic, taste of garlic. So I'm okay with that.
I love garlic.
Mm-hmm.
Garlic, onion, shallots.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sound like Emerald Lagasse. Oh yeah.
Okay, so let me know when you're all ready. We can even just so we'll have it done and out of the way, we're gonna zest our we're gonna grate our garlic. So the difference with the garlic, I mean not garlic, but
Ginger.
So, all right, this is old school, but I like this thing. This is my grandmother's. So whenever you're working with a soft cheese, you want to use a bigger hole.
Oh, the cheese.
Yeah. So when you're working with a soft cheese, it's the larger holes. When you work
Okay, I got
when
you.
you're working with the hard cheese, you want to use a smaller hole. So we're just going to grate this. Put it aside because this is going to go on top. Basically, just as a finishing.
Are you grating the ginger?
Huh? The cheese.
The ginger?
Huh?
Are you grating the ginger?
No, we're grating the Gruyere.
Okay. So grate it on the big holes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you notice it's a lot easier to grate versus if you're trying to do it on the small ones.
Yeah,
Now,
that's what I'm used to using.
don't hold back in like a piece breaking off and eating it because I do. 3 tablespoons, so there's no fun in like doing all this prep work without eating something. About 3 tablespoons.
Ooh, okay. Okay, so we're grating the Gruyere
Okay.
on this hole.
Let me know when y'all are ready. Don't forget we also have to zest our lemon and then juice it.
So how many tablespoons of cheese? 3 tablespoons of cheese.
Yep, 3 tablespoons.
Okay. All right.
Okay. And then so we'll okay. So zest your lemon. So this one requires a lemon zest. Gonna zest zest the whole lemon and then we're gonna juice it. Because dining is all about and good cooking, especially with vegetables. Vegetables taste better when you're mounting flavors. So what we're doing is we're mounting flavors, so it just won't be this this horrible kale and Brussels sprouts. And I'm gonna put my lemon zest in something. And I'm gonna take my lemon juice, put it in. Don't do that.
Milan, do we zest the whole lemon?
Huh? Yeah, zest
the entire lemon?
Yeah, zest the entire lemon. And then put that in something, set it aside and then juice.
Okay.
I have a really big lemon, so I'm just gonna juice half the lemon. Have a small lemon, whatever you're not using, I'm just gonna put it to the side. Anything that's dirty, put it in the sink. Get rid of your garbage around, put it in your little refuse container. You're gonna start turning on. I mean, the burner. ready.
Okay.
Ready?
Wow, a lot of zest comes off of these fruits.
Mm-hmm. And even with your microplane, Britt, you can do this.
Yep, with my microplane in one direction.
Yeah, just scoop it out. Okay.
Yeah, I got all that out.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
So whenever you always want to get your pan hot before you start cooking on it. You never want to start cooking in a cold pan. So to get the best outcome, it's always good to get it hot first. You want to turn your burner on. I always like to turn it on before having the pot on because I don't like that. Sometimes it'll go poof, and it scares people. So I just like to turn it on first and then put my pan on. Let that get a little hot. If you can't touch it, then it's hot. But I just every now and then do that to see if it's at the temperature. See if it's hot.
Did you put the oil in yet or no?
Not yet. Only put your oil in after it's hot.
Okay. I didn't know if I missed it or not.
So we're gonna put our oil in. We're gonna put our sprouts, our greens in, and then after we add in our greens for about 7 minutes, just to let them wilt, get a little color on them. First, we'll start out. If you can start out with your Brussels sprouts first, that would be even better. We'll put in our greens on the top because we want our Brussels sprouts to have just a little bit of color. Okay, I'm hot, so I'm gonna put my oil in. We're gonna do 2 tablespoons. Usually, I'm gonna start with 2 tablespoons. So 2 tablespoons, whatever I'm not measuring. It's like 1/1000 to 1,000. That's your 2 tablespoons. Swirl it around. And add the garlic, because you want to add the foundation first. That's why I'm adding the garlic.
Garlic first?
Yeah, add your garlic first.
Okay.
Turn your heat on low if it's too hot. You don't want to burn our garlic. We just want this aroma to come out of it. And once you did that, then you add in your Brussels sprouts.
Oh, this is a lot. Holy cow.
Start to wilt a little. And see, the good thing about it, if we would have kept it in the whole form, it wouldn't have cooked the same. So whenever you're cooking, you want everything to be the exact same dimensions and size. Because if you don't, then one can start cooking faster before the other starts cooking. And you want to be raw and want to be cooked. And it especially goes where it's like if you're roasting or you're doing potatoes, you want potatoes all to be the exact same uniformity. If you're roasting, you want them to all be the same, exact same cut uniformity. And once they start to get a little wilt and you got oil on them, you'll start to notice that some of them start to char already. That could also be the broccoli starting to burn. You can add some salt about now. So you notice I'm adding my salt high up because I'm making it rain.
Okay.
If your pan gets a little dry on the bottom, you can add a little more oil because broccoli does absorb a lot of oil. Then you can put in your kale at this point because it's going to all start to wilt together. Doesn't fall on the floor, then you ain't cooking in the kitchen. I'm gonna add a little bit more salt because I want to make sure my kale has a little salt on it. Only add like little because we want to bring out the natural flavors of everything that's going in this pan. To do this, take it up on the bottom. Just be careful, you may jump out of the pan. I'm gonna add a little bit more oil. You can add some pepper. Turn your heat to low. So it should, at this point, it should already, your kale should be wilted down. Is it wilting? How does your kale look, Brett?
I can't hear you all sizzling.
How is your kale wilted, everybody?
Yeah, it's starting.
Yes, it's starting to.
Okay, once it wilts all the way down, just turn it to low again, as low as possible. And then you're gonna add your lemon zest, your juice, and a little bit more, and a little more salt. But you're gonna, before you add the salt, taste. I'm gonna take mine off the heat because I'm gonna just turn it down. It's still, so you still have sort of a residual cooking because it's still sitting on the burner, even though the burner's off. And at this point, I'm gonna add my lemon zest, my juice, and salt and pepper. Before you add your salt and pepper, make sure you taste it. So you'll know, like, if it needs salt. So this,
The entire lemon, add the juice of the entire lemon.
Did you have a big lemon or a little lemon?
A big lemon.
It's a big one. Just do half the
I'll
juice.
show you. Look.
Okay, just do half. At this point, I want to taste.
Oh yeah, pretty nice.
I like it.
Good.
What you think?
Eat out. Okay. So now stir it up with the zest,
Yeah.
the lemon, salt and pepper. It looks good. It smells good.
You know what it reminds me of looking at it? Sauerkraut.
Ah, that's funny.
Right?
A green syrup.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna add my cheese just yet because I'm gonna add on a little part just to taste it. But I'm gonna add it later once we're sitting down to eat.
We'll just put that to the side now.
I'm gonna, because it's a lot came out, I'm gonna leave this in here. But think for a second. You know what? Turn on your I'm gonna put this in the oven, and then yeah, this will keep it warm. To keep it warm. I'm gonna turn the top one and put it in the oven just to keep stay warm. You can even turn your oven on to 170. And that's what we call a warming oven. It's 170 because it's not too hot and it's not, it's not like 300 degrees. So we're gonna pop that in the oven to keep it warm.
Vegetables still have a little bit of a bite to them.
You can, if you don't want that bite, because what's gonna happen? I mean, you can let it cook a little bit more, but it still may have a little bite because of the Brussels sprouts. Because if you cook it down a little bit too much, then you're gonna the kale is gonna wilt just too. It's gonna wilt a lot. And over,
No, I like it. I like it like that. I like it like that.
yeah, this is, I think this is fine because the longer, like, if you eat on it again tomorrow and then you warm it up, it's gonna break down again. So the fibers continue to break down. So I'll just pop it in, let that sit in the oven while we're working on this. That's not bad. So once you move that away, get your pan ready for your fish. So before we get started, clean up your area first. Don't start your next item until your station area looks clean. Not saying that you have to get out your towel, but that's what your bench scraper is for. Clean that area. You never want to keep working and mounting nasty over nasty. And then that's when you get like clean in the kitchen. You want to get that area, clean that area up.
That's good.
That is good.
Put it in the oven and stay warm.
Yeah.
Clean up my work area.
Yeah, 170.
That goes in the garlic. That goes in the sink.
Everything out of the way. Everybody's ready. Everything's out of the way, cleaned up.
Was I supposed to put the cheese in?
No, don't put the cheese in yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna put the cheese in right before we eat. So we're just gonna
Okay.
get everything out of the way. So ready to move on?
I am.
Yeah, everybody station clean?
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna start on our next recipes. But what do you guys? I mean, how do you feel about that one? Do you like that?
Yeah, I like it.
I really like the Brussels sprouts. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you? What's your takeaway from that particular entree? What new technique?
The cutting for me. For sure.
The shaving and the chiffonade makes the veggies cook so much faster.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
So it was easier to manage your time,
Right. So now there are several different ways, and starting with our poached salmon basil sauce. We've already did our basil sauce, that's out of the way. So we're just doing our ginger now. So there are several different methods of cooking. This is by far one of the easier ones. This is poaching, and I like to call it a bath for your fish. So this poaching is simply just a bath with aromatic herbs that are added in. So we're adding in 1 lime that we're gonna have, and juice it, and then once you split it in half, we're gonna juice both halves, put that in the water, and it's going in there, and both of those pieces are in there. We're gonna take 4 inches of ginger, a whole piece, get the outer part off, and then cut it, and then put that in there. 4 peppercorns, we're gonna put that in there. We're gonna add some sea salt or salt and put that in, and then we're gonna put in our salmon fillet. So we're starting, always start with the bath. You want to start in a big enough pan so that the water can come up and that you can always like almost cover the salmon. And so you're going to use about 2 to 4 cups of water. So let's do 2 and see what it looks like. And then we'll do 2 more. But right now we're just getting all of our stuff ready. So I'm gonna fill my glass up to 2 cups. And don't put it in yet, Jen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So remember we're measuring out everything now. So we're gonna have this put it aside. And then we're gonna take our lime and half it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna just a bowl. I'm gonna just use both of your limes, and I'm just gonna keep it in the same, put it in the bowl that I juiced it. The lime has a lot of flavor on the outside of it. Set that aside. Then we're gonna take our ginger. The best way to get this part off the ginger, one, you wanna, if it's big like this, cut it in half so you're able to work with 2 pieces. The best way to get the skin off is using a spoon.
Oh.
And it gets off a lot. Because if you use a knife, you end up cutting off more of the inner part than you really want.
Oh, that's neat. Okay. Gotta wait, puppy.
Just slice it up. So bring your pot, add your water. Let's do our 2, start with 2 cups, see where it gets us, nowhere. So add in 4. That was 2. So add in your 4 cups of water in your pan. Just so we can start heating up our water. Turn it on. And once the water starts boiling a little, then you can turn it to like a medium boil. And then you can put start putting our ingredients in. By the time we're finished, it'll be ready to add our ingredients. I'm thinking about that. Oh my goodness, that sauce is gonna be so good on this. The If you have like half of the skin off the ginger, that's fine, as long as you have the majority of it off. And then your black peppercorn. So bring your water, make sure your water comes up to a boil. So you may have to turn it up to high. I'm gonna put my peppercorn to the side. Ready.
Peppercorn.
Yeah, just pour. Because they're gonna blossom inside the water.
4?
Just pour.
Oh, okay. I want to make sure I heard that.
Well, I broke my lemon thing.
Oh, no.
Oh,
That's okay. I got a second one.
Oh, thank goodness.
okay.
That means I got some good juice in there.
I know.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay. Now, what did you say do with the ginger? I got it all cleaned up.
okay, so you should have your lemon juice, and you should also have it halved. You should have one fresh ginger cut into like pieces, sliced. Your peppercorns, and then salmon fillet, and then the sea salt. So what we're gonna do first is once it comes to a boil, we're gonna put in our lemon juice in the water, and then you're gonna drop halves in with it. Then you're gonna add in your ginger and then your black peppercorns, just so you can get some infused flavor. We're gonna infuse the flavors for about 5 minutes.
Okay.
This can also be done the other way around, where you do this first and then do your sauce. So once we get that boil, mine is starting. Cold water tends to boil fast first. Versus you put hot water.
Oh,
So
nice.
in garbage right now, let's clear our station. See how easy it is? Now you got your garbage you can toss away.
Yeah, that's nice.
And there's, you have very little mess on your countertop. Okay, so I'm getting a boil. How about you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Britt.
I'm getting those bubbly whites at the bottom of the pan, so it's about to boil.
Okay, perfect. So at this point, put in your lime and your juice. I'm gonna put mine flesh side down. Pour in your water, juice. I'm gonna put in my ginger slices.
Good.
My lime.
Yep.
And
Your peppercorns.
ginger slices.
Let's do a few.
Peppercorn.
I feel like I need maybe a few more peppercorns. So let's do a few more peppercorns.
Oh, okay. Like 4 more or?
Like that. Maybe 7, a few more in your hand. So you have like a little black specks in the bottom. Then we want to add so let's let that infuse for about 5 minutes. We start
Do we
slowly.
add salt or no?
At
Do we put
this
salt in the water?
not yet. Let me see. This says, yeah, let's put the salt in the water. So one thing, salt will help it to bring the flavor on. Just a little salt. We're not making pasta, so it doesn't have to taste like the sea. But if you put your finger in, it is hot, but just be careful. Put your finger in and bring it out really quick, and taste it. You can judge how much salt you put in already. Because this is, in terms of like the meat, the salmon, this is really the only. All of this right here is what's going to go onto our fish. Like I said, you can do the same thing with chicken. You can pop in garlic if you want. So you can put in saffron, let it bloom. So whatever whatever you're fancy, any fibrous, woody spices, put in there. And it'll give a slight flavor. So now that we got some boil going, we want to.
Yeah, baby. It's boiling now.
Yeah. So now let's give it a few more minutes. We just want to make. Let's put our cover on to quickly infuse those flavors. And turn it to put your top on it.
All right.
What another tip on medium. Another tip, if you have I guess nice quality like serving platters, you can pop them in this 170-degree oven temporarily. You can put them in as well, just to keep them warm. So let's say you're cooking and food is starting to cool down a little bit, but you want to keep it warm. You can pop it in as well. But just remember this in there because you don't want it to stay too long and crack. But you can put it in for quite a while, just on warming up.
Okay.
So it's boiling vigorously now.
Perfect. So let's take the top off.
Smells real nice.
Oh, that smells good.
Yeah. I'm gonna turn it to low, just a little low because we don't want our salmon to come apart while we're cooking. So take your salmon, your tongs, and then just place them in. But give them some room between each salmon so they have some space. The salmon on average, you notice they're already starting to change color. And as soon as you put them in there. It'll take now it's 5:02, so it takes about 7 minutes, like 6 to 7 minutes. We're gonna have a spoon close by. You can like pour some of the liquid on top of it from your basted. And we're gonna, once we finish basting all of them, we're gonna cover it. Already. If you didn't salt the water, you can salt it again just to you know, make sure that there's enough salt on them. But remember, there's also salt in your sauce, so you don't need to add too much salt. So we're gonna let this poach on a medium to low simmer for about 5 minutes. Just let it cook.
So medium to low, is that like number 3?
Yeah.
Like number 3 on the stove? Okay.
Yeah. When it comes to salmon, it typically only takes about 7 minutes total to cook. Even if you're searing, same thing. 3 minutes on one side, 3 minutes on the other side. Because if it's left on longer than that, you ever notice when it starts getting like white coming out of the salmon? If you ever have that white coming out of it, it means you let it go too long.
Yeah, that's gross.
Yeah, that's happened to me before.
Which is really weird. I'm like, babe, come on now, you're in a restaurant at home. You can't eat like that. He likes to be like, nope, I don't want pink anywhere on my salmon. I'm like, so for him, I have to overcook it. So so everything is almost ready. Get rid of any like plates that the salmon was in, put those in the sink. Clear up your station. We don't need any more utensils. You may want to keep a fork just if you want, but then that everything else can get put away. Then scraper, you can move that. Get rid of your olive oil. So a lot of stuff can actually be like moved away, put back in the proper place. So a quick visual check on how our salmon looks. Do a little bit more basic.
Can we see how it looks?
Yes, open it up.
Can we see how it looks?
Yeah, go ahead and see. You'll notice like on the outer part, the salmon has started to turn like a darker pink. Almost as if it almost looks like you put it in the oven, right, Jen?
Yeah.
Yeah. To see how easy, poaching is.
I never poached anything except for eggs before, so that's neat.
Yeah. I poached it. You can do it with any fish. Like I said, you can do it with any other fish. You can do it with shrimp. If you love shrimp, you can do the same thing with the shrimp. You can do the same thing with chicken. Only thing I wouldn't do is like steak.
Okay.
Okay, so we are this. I just want to double check.
Oh wow, good.
Top back on, give it about 2 minutes, no more. Then we can take it out.
I have a question.
Yeah.
My fish is like underwater. Is that okay?
That's fine. You can always
put like more.
That's fine.
It's okay.
Yeah, because you don't have to base as often.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So pop your plate in the oven right now. And that'll give us a time to plate up everything. I'm gonna take my plate, put it over.
Okay.
Because I just don't like to put hot fish on a cold plate. Because and turn your pan off because the water's still hot, so it's still slightly cooking it. We have one more minute.
Excuse me.
Exciting. As I always tell people, when your family eat it, if they say, "Oh, this is horrible," don't tell them it was me. No, but this is gonna be really good. This is one of my early years ago. When I was in private practice years ago, and the space, it was a wellness center that had like a kitchen on the other wing. So I had one space I was using for like wellness clients, and I had another I could use the kitchen on the other end, which was the picture that I posted up today. So I would use the kitchen on the other end, and I would do cooking demos there. And this was one of the first entrees that I made. So we're gonna take our top off and put it straight. Careful, the top is hot. And your plate may be hot in the oven too, so use some, lift it up because you don't burn yourself. So to make this really pretty, so you got your beautiful dish ready next to it. We're gonna take our Brussels sprouts out of the oven. I always have to say that because when I was in cooking school, I forgot I forgot my pan in the oven was hot, and I was like stressed and trying to hurry up, before the chef. And he was like, "Hurry up!" Did this countdown, and I grabbed the pot out of the oven without a mitten, a towel, and burnt the inside of my hand. But I couldn't drop the pan because that was my work. So I just kept it in my hand and rushed over to the table, and I dropped it down and put my hand on the cold water and some ice. Oh man, but I was in pain. But I got a passing grade that time. So we'll take that. Yeah. So take your top off, and so we're gonna put our salmon. Ooh, that looks so pretty. If you want to get out your pictures right now, go right ahead. These are picture moments. And we'll put I want to put the Brussels sprouts on the bottom and put the salmon on the top. I think that would look pretty.
Okay.
I just want to take. Or there's a couple different ways of plating, and you guys got to remember this because on the last day you have to present your plating to me. So you can, whenever there's like a bed of greens, you can either put it around here and make like a circle, and then put the fish lined up like that, or you can take the fish and put it on an angle and put it around, or you can take your plate of greens and lay it on the bottom and then lay the salmon on the top on an angle. Whichever.
When do we put the cheese on?
And then the The cheese is gonna go into the Brussels, put your cheese on the Brussels sprouts now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's still warm. I can put all of mine on, half of it on. And I'm gonna plate mine on the bottom.
Okay.
Make like a bed. Like it's sitting on a bed of green. And then the pink on the top. And then is, somebody pick up their salmon, they also picking up some too. And then be careful when you take your salmon out not to break it. So you may want to use your spatula instead of using your tongs so you don't. Now, wasn't that a nice way of cooking it? You notice how it's cooked all the way through? Nice. And if you're like serving this later, and you choose not to serve it now, you can always let it chill down in the refrigerator and just put a little liquid on it so it won't dry out completely, like maybe half, so it don't dry out completely while it's in the refrigerator. And then just, serve it at room temperature later. So now we did that, now we want to add our sauce. I always like to go down the middle with it, because sauce is designed to not completely overwhelm something, but like just give it a little taste of something. You don't want to drown your. Take a picture of your food because I want you to upload. Send me an email or I'm not sure if the website, the membership site will let you upload. Now they can upload it there. If you can't, just send it to me. But let me see your finished product because I feel like if you send it to me, I may fall out of the plate. Oh, great. How do yours look?
Hold on.
Okay.
I'm trying to find that spot. That's the water. Can you see a little bit?
Let's see.
Look.
Yeah, all right, you use cod. I like it. I love that. Let me see.
Then, but I didn't put the cream on yet.
The cream is kind of like slipping and sliding, but
I love it. It's a beautiful pink.
That looks good.
It does. I love it. I'm so proud. You guys you're amazing students. I love it.
It looks good.
I'm gonna be an amazing eater real soon.
Yeah. Agree. Do you all? It's up to you. You're not obligated to, but do you want to eat a piece together, or do you want to wait for your family?
I'm gonna take my picture first.
Okay.
Hold on, I gotta take a picture.
Okay. I'm gonna show my husband before I cut into mine. So if you.
Wait.
Wait, let's see how yours looks again. Did you take a picture?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Oh, that's
How it
beautiful.
look?
Yes, I love it. That's gorgeous.
Wow.
And I love the contrast with the green against the red. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you take a picture of yours, Milan?
Yeah, I'm gonna take another picture.
Okay.
I'm gonna take another bite.
I was trying to take the sauce, like a picture with the sauce and then celebrate.
That's really good.
Can we eat it now?
Yes. Bon appetit.
Okay.
Bon appetit.
I'm gonna put my creme fraiche back in the refrigerator.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, don't leave that out. Turn off your stove. Jen, unless you're putting yours back in the oven for your family a little bit later.
Oh, we're gonna eat right about now.
Yeah, within the next hour, you may want to put it in the oven.
Oh, put it away right here.
That's really good.
You like that?
The fish is so good.
And guess what? You made it. I just guided you through it, but you made it.
Like it has the flavors of everything we poached it in.
Huh?
Flavors of what we poached it in.
Yeah, you can
The
taste it.
ginger.
Yeah. And you know what? The thing about what I love about poaching is, you don't have to do a lot to it, It's super simple. It's get you in and get you out.
I can't wait till next week.
Let me get mine.
Yeah, mine seems. Whoa, dogs! My dogs are acting up again. But anyway, mine seemed a little dry on the very edge, but once I got into it, it's very nice, and flaky.
Yeah.
So that's good.
But it's still moist.
Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you all buy fresh or frozen? Which fish?
I got fresh today. I just
Okay.
Me too, fresh.
I usually do frozen, but I'm like, no, not for this.
Mhm. I like how the flavors come together even with the kale.
All right, ladies, I gotta run. I gotta feed the kiddos.
All right.
But thank you very much. I had fun.
You're welcome.
Sorry,
Bravo.
hopefully next week I'll do better. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, guys. I'm glad you had a
Thank
great
you.
time. I'll see you next week.
You sure will.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Fine.
Bye-bye.